Hi everyone, welcome. Welcome to the launch of Serge Neptune's Mother Night. We're going to do that awkward dance around while people join us from far-flung places, no doubt. While I minimise my screen. But thank you very much, I should say, for spending your Thursday evenings with us. And the summer solstice, I think, is it today? Which perhaps feels maybe an odd day, or maybe a very apt day to be welcoming in Mother Night. I don't know. It's one or the other. There's something in it somewhere. Please do use the chat function on the right if you are able to. Let us know where you're from. If you say if you mark it for everyone, and then we can all see it. Lovely to know where people are joining us from, and what you're doing other than preparing for an evening of poetry. I myself am in Birmingham in the Empress office, which I've set up to display Serge's pamphlet. Serge, I think, is in a mist storm by his camera, which you may or may not be able to see yet. Got Elizabeth from Toronto coming in, and Serge. Oh no, not Serge. Hi, Serge. Dana from Canterbury. Lovely. And Lydia from Orkney. Wow, we're covering the globe, if not the length and breadth of Britain, certainly. Yeah, use that Q&A function as well, the chat function. Show your appreciation for the poets as we go. Drop in some questions. We've got a few readers, but yeah, hoping to have a bit of time for some questions at the end. We can ask of Serge. So drop them in as you think of them, if you have them, and we will get to it. Looks like people have slowed down joining, so I will begin officially and welcome you to the launch, the week after publication of Mother Night by Serge Neptune. My name is James. I am the maternity cover director at the Emma Press, who published this pamphlet of poems. In case you don't know about us, we are a Birmingham-based publisher of poetry and prose for adults and children. We were founded in 2012 by Emma Diane Wright, with the aim of making literature and publishing as welcoming and as accessible as possible. If you're writers, I'm sure many of you are, you should know we have open submission windows twice a year. We publish about 8 to 10 books every year. I'm thrilled that we reached the midpoint of 2024 with this stunning pamphlet by Serge. I'll say a little bit about the pamphlet from my point of view. The open submission window that Serge was selected in, I think, had about 350 submissions, slightly over. And Mother Night was the only poetry pamphlet we selected from that round. And I remember thinking quite highly of it when we shortlisted the manuscript. But then I also think something quite extraordinary happened when we came to consider the final manuscripts. And that intervening time, it kind of felt clear that Serge had put considerably more work and thought into this pamphlet and presented it under this fantastically evocative new title, Mother Night. And it had this atmosphere of night that kind of just seeped into every poem. Each poem felt more honed, the titles had been stripped, and kind of like above all, that showed to me and to us that there was a poet there committed to their craft and improving, which was something that really excited us at the Emma Press. Oh, I've said it before, but I will say it again. There's a line on page 3. I think if you have it, please read along. If you haven't got it, please order it. But the line on page 3 was when I knew that this pamphlet had it for me, which you often get when you're reading submissions. And the line is, night is a bag of marbles dropped. And like somehow Serge maintains this kind of darkness rolling like marbles across the journey of these poems, and across the cars and alleyways in London, and of course across kind of many dark themes of abuse and trauma. But what's kind of especially brilliant about this is how it builds towards a point of understanding and resilience, and these sort of chinks of light come in to both the poems, the subject matter, and the atmosphere in a really remarkable way. It's probably enough from me. But I'm delighted to say so over the next hour or so that Serge is with us to read and talk about the book. We've got two special guest readers, Charlotte Shevchenko Knight and Jinhao She, to share some of their work for us and help us celebrate Mother Night. Before that, I think we should start with Serge. It's only right. I'm not sure you want to share a poem straight away. We're going to do a full reading later on, but maybe a few words and talk about the book. Firstly, a massive congratulations from us, and a thank you again for sending your work to us. Do you remember working on the manuscript a lot in between the shortlisting and the longlisting? Or
I do.
okay,
I do. It was very intense because, of course, the perception of your poems changes as you. The poems do their own thing somehow, and they keep growing, and they let you know that they need different things, and you need to keep working on them, and that their bodies are not quite complete or not quite shaped in the way they are supposed to. So yeah, you keep just working on the thing, and then, as you said, we stripped the titles because it became a whole thing. It became like a book-long pamphlet, and the whole thing managed to flow from start to finish. It was very important for me that it would flow from start to finish, and that I had this nocturnal atmosphere that was constant throughout all the poems, which, in my opinion, also serves as a soothing presence for all the pain and for all the hardship that was in the experiences that some of the poems are derived from. Allow me to start by saying this. I'm so grateful. I like to say I am the product of so many people's kindnesses, and I wouldn't be here without so many of you supporting me. I'm so grateful for all of you here in the audience. I'm so grateful for everyone at the Emma Press, from James, who's a marvelous editor and it's been a pleasure to work with, to Georgia, Perry, Emma herself, and everyone at the Emma Press. And then, of course, I'm so grateful to Jinhao and Charlotte, amazing poets, but also friends. And to be fair, I am mostly excited to hear their poems. There's a bit of self-interest there. I care more about their poems than mine at this point, but they are such amazing poets, and I'm so grateful that they're here to support me. A quick word about trigger warnings. This book centers around my experience as I've been sexually abused when I was 7. There's nothing too graphic, there's a lot of metaphor, but I would urge you to prioritize yourself. If anything is too much for you, feel free to leave the room momentarily. I will not take offense of that. As I mentioned, there will be trigger warnings. Did I mention that? I don't know, but I will try to put trigger warnings wherever needed. If it becomes a bit too much, feel free to leave the room even momentarily, and make sure that you prioritize yourself and your well-being. I would also like to acknowledge the political situation in the world. As much as I do love to celebrate the efforts that I put into this pamphlet, and I want this to be a celebration. There's a lot going on in the world still. The situation in Palestine is still dire. There are still conflicts in Ukraine and other parts of the world. Please inform yourselves. Please donate whenever you can if you have the chance. the arts are political, and that's it. And that's all from me. I don't think I'm going to read a poem now because, as I said, the whole book is quite compact. And besides, I'm also looking forward to hearing work from Jinhao and Charlotte, very selfishly so. But yeah, that's all from me for now.
Lovely.
I'm just
Oh, sorry, Serge. I was wondering, maybe you've already sort of said it. Would you like to say a little bit why you've chosen, aside from knowing these people, why you've chosen Jinhao and Charlotte for this event?
because I'm a fan of their work mostly. And I'm also they're also friends. They've always been there to support me. Charlotte's been there when I was working on Mother Night, and she saw quite a few drafts. Jinhao also saw a few of the poems while I was still in the midst of it. And I saw some of the drafts of Charlotte's Food for the Dead, which is an amazing collection published by Cape, and you should all buy a copy if you haven't yet. You are insane, because that's one of the most beautiful collections that came out earlier this year. But yeah, just a fan.
Thank you very much, Serge. Perhaps if you duck off camera, and I will introduce our first reader, who is Jinhao Zhe. They've got a brilliant bio, which I'm going to enjoy reading, I think. Jinhao is a lover. They are curious about the quiet, the unheard. They believe that poems can carry the non-weight of hearts. They are an alumnus of Barbican Young and South Bank Centre New Poets Collectives 21-22. They're currently making their first pamphlet. Their work has appeared in Poetry, Poetry Review, Bath Mag, Gutter Magazine, 14 Poems, and various anthologies. So take it away, Jinhao.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, and congratulations, Serge, for your new pamphlet, Mother Night. And yeah, I think my favorite will be the last poem, but yeah, I'm sure we'll come to that. I will just be sharing some poems and spirits of the pamphlet, and as my bio said, I've been working on my pamphlet, and these are some sneak peeks from the collection, I think. Yeah. I wake up and see the girl in the mirror. Say a woundless daughter like me is dangerous. Teach me about reconciliation and the body that is given. Say my eyes are brown because they are riverless. Show me how to drown if my body holds no water. Some days I want to mourn the softness of my breasts just because. And I let strange men come into me and say, what a good girl. Tell me all there is about rivers and this phantom woman, the governor of the moon, and thus the river. Once I swam in the river on the moonless night, and my mother was the moon thief. The river there was a daughter who lived until 9 months old, and I was a hound that ravished her into a shadow, leaving my mother's body an eclipse. When I ask her, why was I born? My mother unbuttons her tight jeans and shows me her deflated moon, her stretched river, and says, here, ask me to dip my hands into this glistening river of hers, and I feel it, its ridged surface, and I hear the girl singing, flooding my bones. So I have been thinking about my relationship with my body and the idea of motherhood, and this is what I have been thinking about this whole time, and I want to make sense of it, and also give voice to my mother, who does not speak English, but I want her presence to be more present. This one is an old poem called Trotter. It starts as an experiment with one torch and two trotters bargained from a local butcher shop, wash them thoroughly, and resist theorizing the sink in the kitchen sink. A stink in the kitchen sink. Focus on scorching the hair extinct, skin post-apocalyptically tarred. Then scrub these charred trotters down until the pearl sheen of the rind is polished out, toes freshly pedicured, gaps gouged clean of the rot. I once held a pair just like that, my mother playing my mother, her feet blushing in the footbath, her chiseled heels weighing on my palms like trophies. And I kissed her by the ankle, two calluses twinkling. My mother paid me a visit back in 2016, and that's kind of a memory I cannot live, I like kind of forget, because it was her first time going abroad, and me having lived here for so long, and I have to show her around the country and the places I've been, and kind of imagining a kind of life we could have had if I didn't go away and share the moment, like kind of experiences. So yeah, this one's called Mother Mother. I love you, flesh into blossom. I made you and take you made into me, O dear Lord, recreation. It was raining outside. The wet stomping at the entrance echoed. The church would not have place for us, tourists, who come only looking for a short stay. In front of the man naked on the cross, I saw you sobbing. So loud, even the priest came. Under his robe, a cross stiff in his clenched hand, I held you close, your head pressed into my chest. It's okay, I patted your shoulder. It's just us now. Then something struck as I unbuttoned my shirt and bared my breasts. Oh, how I wished mine would have draped out like yours. The dawn dawns on the horizon of a willow leaf. In that moment, for once, you were my daughter instead of mother, and the sunrise that day was horrendous. And the last poem I'm going to share is kind of from my upcoming pamphlet, which also was longlisted with Magma magazine competition. And this one was featured on the website, called You Hold My Hand Along Oxford Street. You hold my hand along Oxford Street, and I'm your child again, still feeling the guilt for not picking you up at Heathrow. We're accustomed to missing unions like that. Life isn't scripted TV shows, you say, licking strawberry ice cream off your hand, knowing how you came from my graduation, from Chengdu to Canterbury, knowing the flights, the trains and the waiting, knowing that your body barely spoke enough language to ask for help, knowing that you had to salvage sorries and thank yous from my nursery rhymes, knowing your wit, I'm not surprised that you managed to arrive. Right now, I'm angry that you're tired. Too much of following my footsteps, you complain, crouching on a bench by the River Thames. Too eager to love, I accuse you like you once did me. I want you to see everything I've seen. You take off your pumps and sucking air as the blisters kiss your heels like the sun, gesturing me to sit next to you, and tenderly you speak like a poet. My dear, be my eyes to see the world, and be my ears to listen to all the songs. Thank you, and congratulations, Serge.
Oh, wow. Thanks so much for that, Jinhao. Beautiful poems, and congratulations to you as well on your Magma longlisting. That's amazing. We look forward to reading it, wherever it may be. next. Okay, our second reader tonight, Charlotte Shevchenko Knight, is a poet of both British and Ukrainian heritage. Her debut pamphlet, Ways of Healing, was a winner of the New Poets Prize. She's currently undertaking a PhD at Manchester Metropolitan University and is based in York. She is a recipient of an Eric Gregory Award for her debut collection, Food for the Dead, which was published by Jonathan Cape, I think she said earlier this year, which is very exciting. So over to you, Charlotte.
Hi, thanks for that intro. Yeah, it was earlier this year. I just wanted to say a big congrats to Serge. It's so beautiful and it's so well deserved. And it's been so amazing kind of seeing the early ideas behind this come to fruition. It's lovely. And I'm really glad to be reading here today. I'm gonna read from Food for the Dead, which is a book about hunger and violence and family, but I think I'm going to read specifically 3 poems from the hunger section in a row, and I think these are sort of from around the time that Serge and I used to hang out a lot in Whitechapel. This first one is called Kid, You Weren't Wrong. The kid discovers her tongue, gripping it between her fingers with a violence only toddlers can achieve, like it's something that needs to be stopped. Kid, you aren't wrong. Its pink obscenity will go on and on, devouring knockoff Haagen-Dazs in the gloaming of television static, cheap solstice wine, the horseshit of iron supplements. It will long for oysters in the Whitechapel Gallery, £5 latte hearts, midnight cheese board, gin without the slim, and on the bus back from the club, that same tongue will not shut up about McDonald's, tearing up at the thought of stealing someone's gherkin, hugging ribs in its golden arching absence, and you'll both know it's sickening to want. You'll both know you can't stop. Morning friend. Oh, rattling kettle, your silver emptying. In our language, we do not have the word for lack. We do not have words. Only so much to be said about absence without negating it. O Bergamo, slumping into water, resigned to floral trickery, empty consumption of dawn. This ache is an ache worth aching. Horizon of slim wrists, loose clothing, negative space, domestic bliss. How could he not love what little is left of me? O phantom husband, flickering in the distance like a candle, I am recording these thoughts with a hope as warm as his wax palm meeting my cheekbone. Now I am filling the kettle, waiting for the boil, pouring myself a hot cup of shame. This is my last poem, Happy Violence. My life has conspired into a beautiful 30-second advert that I cannot skip over because I do not want to. It is so big blue, wild geese, Diet Coke, hardly pixelated. And now I am imagining all of the other 30-second clips my life could be. Sandcastle montage, pushing ice cream onto your nose, which is large, sunburnt, and will peel with the ease of a really beautiful banana, which I will not eat, not because I'm not hungry, but because it needs to be preserved in a fruit museum, which is exactly where I take it, seat belted beside me in the next clip, my hair flying, happy violence, the car a convertible. We live in a temperate climate where you are always waiting at home, pressing tofu with a stack of glossy Vogues, And I do not think about youth or paper cut collarbones. Really, none of that occurs to me at all. I am giving you your nose back. We are making a stir fry, and it is all so perfect because you can smell sweet noodle grease, you can smell my recently washed hair, and you notice it is recently washed. You tell me that, and I turn to the camera, delivering my line with the insistence of summer. I really want to live. I really, really want to live. Thank you. And big congrats, Serge, again. Beautiful, beautiful pamphlet. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. That was incredible. Thank you both. And thanks, Serge, for inviting those brilliant readers to start our evening of celebrating Mother Night. I will give Serge the same due and give you his bio. I'm sure many of you know him. But we'll invite Serge back to read some poems. And please, as I say, drop any questions you may have in the chat as they come to you. Serge Neptune has been called the Little Merman of British poetry. He is a Faber Academy alumnus and a queer neurodivergent poet based in London. His first pamphlet, These Queer Merboys, was published with Broken Sleep in 2020. His work's been longlisted for the National Poetry Competition and the Winchester Poetry Competition. Several poems have appeared in magazines like The North, Propel, The Rialto, Magma, 14 poems and elsewhere. And we are delighted to say his second pamphlet, Mother Night, is out now, the Emma Press. Over to you, Serge.
That went so quickly. Listen, I'm in awe of these two poets. It's insane how talented they both are. A publisher better snatch Jinhao's pamphlet as soon as possible because they are one of the best poets we've got. And Food for the Dead, please, if you can, get yourself a copy. It's one of the best collections to come out early this year. So yeah. And then there's Little Me. I love this little book. It feels beautiful to touch. It's a beautiful cover. I'm going to screen share, and as I mentioned before, if there are any trigger warnings, I'll be careful to mention those as I go along. The book starts with an epigraph by Rilke, which goes, "I have faith in the night. And if you will it strongly enough, even the dead can dance." As it turns out, my brain is not a compact thing, a cracked glass pane glued and barely holding together. Pills, rose gold cloud attempt to ease a sledgehammer thought, a tap left to drip for days, shallows in the sink, till the flat is a pool, then a shark swims in. My block of flats on the New Cross Road is now a giant record player. Memories crackle from afar. Graffiti from the sides of houses leave the walls, join the parade of the reckless. Night is a bag of marbles dropped, each one rolling over cars and people. I succumb to their pace and weight, their love-tight gripe, brace and crumble under the pressure of the encounter. Maybe this city indulges us because it needs to. Mother Swan devouring her signets, to keep its foot on us, to cook us slowly. Gravity trips me, I fall. Night drips red hot on the brain, lifts visions from its marshes. I squeeze my body to define my territory against a hostile world. I believe in my mistakes. I carry them out proudly like a pair of eyes on a purple glass dish, my head crowned with candles. Trigger warning here for self-harm. Crestfallen in an indigo world of lampshades, abattoir bedroom, dancing to spellbound by posters of Susie Sue, Robert Smith, Nico, rewatching the craft or practical magic for the 56th time in a course year, picturing Icelandic beaches and the sand, very black and post-punk, Haars and icebergs, cyanobacteria, blades, dancing, pas de deux on epidermis, few drops at a time, few spores at a time, spreading too thin with every cut on the blue formica of the kitchen, dawn leaking into the glove of night. Autumn is the queerest season because the air is thick and slippery, the men so sickly beautiful and quick to burn. Something boils underneath the carpet of porous orange on Asylum Road beside the hydrangea smirking Baba Yaga's chicken-licked houses, Suspiria red windows, mature men in olive, emerald, obsidian jumpers, office suits walking to post-work grinder dates by the vigorous maples reaching for the pallid sun. Men so sickly beautiful like deers shot and slow-mo dropping sleeks of bronze carcasses by Brimington Park. The young hipsters braving the brisk air with sleeveless hairy biceps walking to post-workout grinder dates at Queen's Road Peckham by the Blackbird Bakery, and Burman cats crouched in rows. And then it happens. Midnight strikes, a new man stretches my insides. I'm making myself as placid as a glass case, malleable as table fruit. From the narrow ceiling window, the night vault visits, finds us porcelain. Under moon rays, it pushes my lower back down to arch it, lift the buttocks up. I indulge his wands, leave the body for a while, repress the urge to ask this stranger for a more considerate touch. When he turns me over, my back is a flaming staircase. His eyes meet mine, but for a second I bend the neck over the edge. The moon pickaboos from the narrow ceiling window. The night plummets on us, through us, our bodies like pikes, down, down, the chrysolite lake of stars. With a warning here, because for violence and hinting at sexual assault. It begins in a coastal village where I went to school. Breath chafing my cheeks, hands slipping where I didn't want them, fingers that scraped worse than nettle. Something of the poison stage. Whose body's this? Not my body, not my body, not my body, not my body. I kept talking back to my mother until my mouth was a fountain of blood. They say that certain things don't happen to boys. If they do, we don't talk about them. Who knows what people might think. Nan suspected evil eye. Passed a red thread around me, cut it with scissors. Prelude to a lifetime of name-calling. We know everything. Trains speeding out of my classmates' mouths. They guessed what I was before I did. At 16, I kept shouting for no reason, smashed every plate to pieces, a couple of vases, a chair on my father's back. Mother's nerves couldn't take it. At 16, I escaped my body for the first time. Mother Night, bring relief, quiet the mind, and give it peace. At 16, how big a flood can a mind hold? On a first date, the guy doesn't get my lone silences, my cryptic answers. You sound very hostile, he says. The first reaction is always defense. My brain pulls the barricade so high it mushes the roof of the skull. The mouth quickly follows. Either fuck me or leave me alone. I look at the moon from the open window of my body's unfurnished room. The walls covered in cracks. Pretend London is real, or more than sinking. Pretend London is a reed, a rectum, a chess set, more than the river sting, the stiff surrender. Bodies endlessly punctured, each cut a blessing, pelagic, tridental, sirenous. St. Paul's dome, a hawk about to unravel wings, stopped halfway through the motion. A new guy shows me a pole. I take a nap. Harsh whip sifting through the railings. Biolife and stone, carried lovingly, tireless labour of cells. The Belvedere, the styrofoam. Forget the cruelty of petrol, the Dior silks of pollution. I love this body, fruit dug in by flies, luminescent, tearsome. The sun slowly melts on my cheeks through red light, our fucking distilled, stagnant kin, indigo song of shoulders, everything teething, love in a mist, thrust of the city's faggotry, there's blush, the city outweighs, body washed up in morn tide, hirsute forget, carriage by daybreak, easily swayed to believe. Hear the bellow from the mouth of night, esophagus of poplars, where we slither, the bluebells dwindle, carnivores stumbling in their own hunger. This city picks our flesh clean, way too many alleys, road junctions, sudden downdrafts, vodka going to our heads too quickly. You can feel wires under the tarmac feeding into each other, travelling to street lights, and switch to hospital thoughts, lots of cholesterol talk. How many kinds of broken can you think of? Way too many. There is talk of holding tight, how life has taken advantage of our people. Tiny doll dresses soar to the ceiling, stay there. Hours filled with our grandmothers shrieking, confused in our bedroom and without dinner, we sulk. The cupboard wood itches with laughter. Out on the balcony, my sibling has torn all buds off the rose bushes. Doilies echo through the living room. My aunt catches me playing. I flee. A feast of black hair forces itself into my mouth. Night sets in the shape of an hourglass. Grandparents smoke 3 packs a day. I watch a theatre of clouds distort the room, the telly melt into glucose syrup. Gunshots from the shed test our foundations. At 4 a.m, all house plans push back what sunlight they absorb during the day. All the yarn in the house grows covered in mould. My aunt lives upstairs, visits once daily. Morning lurks, 18 snails crashed on the tiles. trigger warning here for, again, sexual abuse. A new man arrives, massive wingspan, clouds, all that swarms below. He finds me dressed in pink. Who knows what could have gone differently? This is where you ask the heavy questions. I was 7, about to be. Hands grabbing camellias, clutching to the whole corolla of petals, and pulling. I saw children my age gathering around a dead robin, pollen from some tree. Surely I didn't want to see my future. I learned the code of fingers, what didn't belong on my person, inside my underwear. Trees brimming with oranges in the raincoat of night. By the countryside road, a new man, this cautiousness, my body grabbed by another's hand. He came over me, massive wingspan, fingers smelling like petals, the sky forever sad and angry. It's the end of days, and the tides feel it coming. Our trills awaken the kraken, staccato notes, drag lightning over the English Channel. Overnight pollution seeps with beastly groan, an archway of clouds, a crumbling chapel. The ships are sinking as they mouth the wings to dance, swimmers smashed in between the icebergs. Remember our cries, washed over the ears of men that hurt us and wouldn't stop. How our song now blows their lungs heavier and heavier with the current. Now I'm going to finish with this poem, which is in memory of Marsha P. Johnson. These are hard times. We are going backwards. The rights of LGBTQ plus people are being stripped all over again. And we fight. We fight. Whatever they pull us through, we've always been here. We will always be here. We are such resilient people. We go through, endure such hard experiences. We fight because we can. We have such power within us, and there's no future without us. And so this is for us. Remember, nobody can end us, not even the dawn with its swinging knives. Remember the flower-crowned women that fought for us first, ports of sharks and troops of whales, purpled waves and harpoons lost to history, how the slander of that metal rusts away under the sand. Forget the tears, unravel the silk of your grief to the current, let it carry further into the tidal swirl. Let crustaceans have their fill of prescriptions, pills, intravenous drips. Here you were never sick. Here a blue prayer, glacial drone of light, pierces from above with gentle arrows. Remember, desire is a holy spring. Think of the letter Q, a drooling mouth, awkwardly breaking the pace of the alphabet, always in need of a mother. Thank you, everyone.
Wow. I will take one vocally for the team there and say what powerful poems, such an emotional and strong reading. And I feel remiss that I'd only mentioned the one line at the start about night as a bag of marbles dropped, because yeah, reading it through again and hearing it again, it's reminded me that there's so many other beautiful lines in there that would have would have been the reason to publish a pamphlet on its own. But thank you for reading it through, and I hope people listening, it seems like certainly in the chat, can kind of get that sense that I was hoping to get across, and Serge certainly has got across, of ending, of building to a point of hope and resilience so beautifully. Please do put some, if you have any questions in the chat, we're loving seeing your nice comments coming in. I've got a couple of questions that we'll ask Serge, just to have a bit of a chat before we finish off. But yeah, I can ask Serge anytime. So if you have if you have other things to ask, and this is your chance to say things. Tim Ting is thanking you for the poems and loving the misty camera too, which we have to bring up as it's adding to extra layer.
Call it the ethereal effect.
Yeah, exactly. People pay lots of money for this on AI technology, but to look so good. You sort of talked about it at the start, Serge, but I am kind of quite interested. Obviously, things changed slightly after you submitted the poems, but I would love to know how it came together for you, in your opinion, the pamphlet. In terms of those kind of like, obviously the title's been stripped, and thank you for reading them with them in front of us. I think that gave a real great sense of it. And so it sort of does feel a bit like a sort of building narrative, although they're separate poems. But had you pre-planned it that way, or were they kind of separate poems that you were just writing into a space and then realized that they fit together in a way?
Yeah, there were either separate poems or bits of poems or lines that I had here and there, and it all I don't know. I've also become less and less interested in singular poems. Like I'm just, and especially right now, especially with the new poems I'm writing, everything to me needs to feel connected. And even if it's a collection of a miscellaneous collection of poems, you still have your own obsession. So you have been writing about certain themes, so they are necessarily connected. So they were separate, but I felt they were starting to become one thing. And initially, I need to say this, I didn't set myself to write about my experiences of sexual abuse. It was a matter of literally writing, then going back to the writing and being like, oh, okay, so this is what we're talking about. Which is the best thing I think about being creative, is that you know, you can have certain intentions at the beginning, but the poems really do whatever they want. They have a life of their own, and it became so clearer, and especially because the night came up several times and it was a constant presence, it became clear that it was a whole thing. It's a mini universe in itself. It's a mini universe where everything fits exceptionally well, from the poems, but also the epigraph, I think, fits very well. The cover fits, is amazing, and thank you to you at the Emma Press for allowing me to find different artists than the ones you usually use. I had this feeling that we needed a different type of direction for this type of work, which is quite dark, quite introspective, maybe. But yeah.
And you've done that brilliant thing of covering off answers to nearly every question that I had, but I'm going to use it to chat, because one of them I was thinking, how did you find the artist? So the artist is, probably going to pronounce it wrong, so apologies, but Kremena Chipalova. Chipalova, maybe. Yeah, so I said we normally at the Emma Press work with designers that we've worked with for a while, and a little pool. So we don't often do this, but you're absolutely right. Serge found this picture, and it fit perfectly, and this was obviously what we had to use. But how did you discover Kremena?
I stumbled upon their Instagram profile like 2 days later, with 2 days after I asked you, literally. And then I sent them an email, a quick email, just in case. You know, would you be up for? And she took a while to respond, but she was happy to do it. And then I told you, I let you know, and you spoke to her, and yeah, it very serendipitously it came all together pretty quickly, I'd say.
Is your algorithm popping up things like this, or so it's much more nuanced than my algorithm, or did you search for something?
I mean, it's very much my style. So I definitely do love dark art, Pre-Raphaelite art. So, and I for the cover, I had this concept that I felt there needed to be a female figure on the cover. I think I spoke to you when we had our first discussion and you asked me for ideas. I think I mentioned that I thought there would be I think at the beginning I thought it would be like early 20s type of female figure, like Ayrton models, if you know the ones, like sort of Belle Epoque kind of design. But I do love Pre-Raphaelite, and so this is amazing. So yeah, but it is, the cover is very me, like, and it also because I've had a lifelong interest in witchcraft and the occult. So Mother Night is literally like a reference to also a reference to figures like Diana, Hecate, and those goddesses of witchcraft. So and that's a beautiful representation of yeah.
Thank you. We'll talk a bit more about the night, but we do have a question from someone in the audience. How did you approach writing about a difficult experience? So that writing process, but also the kind of self-care maybe you had to enact while you were writing.
Well, as I mentioned, I didn't realize I was writing about this. Like it was a lot of writing, and then I realized, okay, so this is what we're talking about, which made sense. I mean, I wrote these poems during lockdown, mostly, and I was in therapy at the time, so I was talking about these things, but so they seeped through the writing. But yeah, again, I didn't set myself intentionally to write about these subjects. And it's hard to say. I mean, and I spoke to Alice Hiller about this, and she's also somebody that writes about her own experiences of sexual abuse. It's hard to, how do you even manage to write about such things? It's just there's not a right or wrong way. It's just it just happens. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, I was looking for lines. I feel like you say that almost beautifully, and that exact kind of, I imagine, emotion. How could you possibly write about it? How could how can a young person possibly comprehend? Is a better line of yours that I'm paraphrasing terribly in that. I was going to ask, just quickly based on that, that moment that you realized that was your kind of subject, or that was a pervading theme, when you were writing, or if you did afterwards write into that, did you find that easier, or was it an easier process, kind of
writing and easier don't go together for me. It's always a struggle. It's never not a struggle. It's always a struggle, but that's the process. I don't know that many poets for whom writing is easy. It's really never easy, no matter the subject. But it's just I don't know that it didn't become easier, but I'm used to writing about dark things, I guess. And so I'm not afraid to explore the more dark recesses of life. It's just something I'm used to. So yeah, I don't know in terms of easy, but I might have felt I had more of a direction to follow. But again, it's all about it's important to not be too set on a certain direction. Like the poems really do whatever they want independently of you, the author. It's just they don't care. But they dictate a certain direction, and so I just listened to what they were saying to me, and then I put the whole thing together, and some certain poems just naturally were together. They matched quite well. The flow, there was a nice flow between them, and then some poems needed a bit more work. So, but yeah, it's a lot of editing. It's a lot of working. I'm not the kind of poet that writes every day. I don't. I cannot manage that. I do try to manage, like writing like 5 lines a day, or like even if it's nonsense, or just very ordinary lists things. But then the editing comes in, and then that's where the real writing starts. And then it's time, because that's true when they tell you like it's time. Like no matter how much you want to change those poems, if you're not ready for those poems to be changed, or if they are not ready to be changed, like there can only be time is the only solution. And they mature, they grow, and it took a long time for some of these poems to come to completion, a very long time, but I'm happy with everything in the book. I would say I'm very, very happy. I was going through it the other day, and I was like, this is a good pamphlet.
That's good. I'm glad you thought that. I was reading it again on my train in this morning, and yeah, you have that beautiful thing with these pamphlets, and it's a relief to hear you've thought the same. But obviously, working it in and publishing them, I haven't read this for quite a while, and Emma typeset it and designed it, and so then to see it, and you get that sort of mini relief of, oh, this is really good. This is great. And a real joy to read it and see those themes and see new themes. And yeah, I would say, going back to that, obviously there are probably poets in the room, and I don't know if it would ever be advice, but yeah, when we make a submission shortlist, we do then ask or give the authors a couple of months to submit their final manuscript, and I'd say the vast majority generally come back pretty much done. And sometimes that's an amazing big tick, because they're confident, they know. But yeah, there was something in seeing the work that had gone into it in the intervening time that really launched it to the top of.
It was a lot of work, wasn't it? You and I really went at it, and I was really feeling like we need to get the best out of these poems, like no matter how long it takes us. But we really worked a lot on these poems. I'm really proud of the work we did.
I'm so pleased, and we're incredibly proud of it as well, which is probably a nice place to wrap up. 1 minute to 8. Look at that. I'm pretty proud of that. It's just turned 8 as well. Amazing. Thank you so much, Serge, for this pamphlet, but also for that brilliant reading. Yeah, it was a joy to hear them again. I do have a few things that I'll finish off with that I always forget to do. I was going to put some links in the chat. Of course, the first link is to the pamphlet. Please do get a copy if you haven't already. As everyone's been saying, it's beautiful to hold. It's printed by our local printers, the Holodeck, who's an amazing artist. Serge, we can definitely not see that. Books have toppled out of the mist. And also, if you do have it, and if you're social medially inclined, it makes a huge difference to if you could post about it, if you enjoy it, if you take a picture of it. yeah, we love to see it, and also, yeah, just having people talk about the books is a beautiful thing. The second link I've just posted is to Serge's in-person London launch next week with Alice Hiller and Hasty Crowther at the Common Press. So do book onto that. And we are doing an Emma Press showcase, which I failed to get the link up, but in Stoke Newington Bookshop on the 11th of July, I think Thursday, where Serge will be there with Zed Arghani and Laurie Bolger, our two poets from earlier in 2024. It just falls to me then to thank Serge again for trusting us with your work and being here tonight, Jinhao and Charlotte for those brilliant readings, and to all of you for joining us. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evenings. And we'll see you soon.